podcasts are fun. You were on, what's the one you were just on?
Fresh and Fit.
Yeah, how was that?
Oh my gosh, well, it was crazy. I didn't really know what I was getting into because I didn't know what the podcast was.
Are you serious? Oh, they're brutal.
No. Oh my gosh, well, and then I showed up and all of the girls were just like not the same vibe as me, and I was like, oh shoot, like what is this? So I
Yeah,
looked it up on Instagram for when I got there, and I was like, oh, like it's that podcast. Like I've definitely seen it before.
yeah.
And I was like, I was like, I'm just gonna go home. And then I was like, no, because it was just across the street from where I live. So it was super, super close.
Oh,
And then I
nice.
was like, no, I think it would be fun because that
Mm-hmm.
podcast is all about like trashing women, but the women that they bring on to hold the other side of the argument are always just like not the best women for like good
Yeah, yeah. They're
representation.
like OnlyFans models and stuff like
They're
that.
all OnlyFans. Yeah, nothing necessarily wrong with that, but just not the best representation when you want to handle that argument.
Right.
So I was like, honestly, like, let's just go for it. Like, I don't think they've ever had like someone on there that's like not drunk and like doing all these crazy things.
Right. Master's degree, businesswoman, all that stuff.
Yeah,
So,
so it ended up being like super cool and fun, but yeah, it's just funny that that was my first podcast. I didn't really know what it was.
oh, that's awesome. I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see how it played out.
Mhm.
Okay, welcome to the Maven Experience. We have an awesome guest today, Miss Shelby.
Hello.
Shelby, hey, thanks for coming on. If you haven't seen her pop up on your TikTok or your Instagram, you're in the wrong algorithm. So Shelby is crushing it. She is a sales legend in the pest control space. She's got a bunch of awesome other things going on that we're going to get into. But Shelby, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. And hey, guys, nice to meet you.
So really quick, let's get into this. So you are in a sales sea of testosterone.
Oh my God. Yes.
To put it in different contexts. So tell me about that. There's very few women in the door-to-door space. How did you get into the direct-to-home world?
Well, it was funny. So I was in the honors college at ASU, and we had a speaker come in, and he ended up being a really good business mentor of mine. But he actually suggested doing door to door sales because he was like, it's a great experience, and he kind of said it as a joke, like it would just be funny to see you go door to door. And obviously, this guy's like super successful. Went on to sell business to Carvana, and I was like, honestly, I might try it out. So I just literally Googled door-to-door sales companies in Arizona. I found one and I was training for them. It's called Aptive. Wasn't really vibing with the people there. A lot of door-to-door companies are very, very Mormon, and I just wasn't really vibing with them. So when I was at a bar at ASU, just normal Thursday night, sophomore in college, I met these guys who were saying they were going to go sell pest control this summer. And I interrupted them and I was like, I'm doing that too. And they were like, no, you're not. Like, there's no way. You're just not doing that. I was like, no, I am. Like, and they were like, oh, you're going out with Shield? And I was like, no, I'm going out with Aptive. And they were like, oh God, you cannot go out with them. Like, come out with us, with our company. So then I hit up one of my really good friends from high school that did door to door with Shield the summer before, made 140K in one summer. And I was like, if he can do it, I can for sure do it.
Wow.
And yeah, that's how I got into it. It was very, very last minute. Normally you have a ton of training before you go out.
Right.
But I drove up with a couple of the guys I went to high school with, and I was memorizing like the intro on the drive up to Minnesota. So very, very last minute send, but obviously worked out for the best.
You made it work.
Yes.
How was your first summer? So, well, let's backtrack a little bit. So, what mindset did you have that all of a sudden you're just like, I'm just going to go try this door-to-door sales thing. I'm going to hit Google and just look it up, because I don't think a lot of people have like the number one, the guts to even do that. So, what was your mindset at that
Yeah,
time?
so I have always been someone that just does things that aren't really normal. Like, I was a professional figure skater my whole life, and I grew up in Arizona. So, like, figure skating professionally in the desert.
Right.
Super random. Like, most girls do, like, soccer or cheer or track. I chose figure skating, which was super weird. I worked at, like, a popular coffee shop growing up called Dutch Bros, and it was just like the cool thing to do back then. But I was always just looking for like cool random things to do because I hated just doing the normal thing that everyone else was doing. So I think that's really what attracted me to door to door What made me stay though was the fact that my mom was like super against it. Obviously, it was like I was 18 years old at the time when I decided to do it. And she didn't want her little girl, her little 18-year-old 100-pound blonde girl going out selling door to door.
Right.
Makes so much sense. I get it, but I just always love like proving my mom wrong, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And so once I got out there, it was like there was just no option to go home. Like I was just staying. Like that was it.
That's awesome. And I feel like our parents have a different mindset of what door to door is, right? I mean, back in the day, it was like newspapers,
Yeah.
window cleaning, Cutco knives, Kirby vacuums, right? It was encyclopedias for way back in the day. So I think their perception of people that knocked on the door and sold product was like minimum, like criminals can't get a job because their background check won't go through. So, which
So
now
true.
now we know, now we understand that it's a completely different ballgame now and the opportunities. So
Yeah. It's funny though, people don't understand like it's a whole new world. Like once you're in door to door, it's like a real harsh program, like very, very intense. It's not anything like what it used to be. So
hmm
definitely has evolved.
yeah, that's awesome. So you went out your first year in Minnesota, and how did that go for you?
It went really well. I was the only girl and I was the top rep for all first year sales reps.
Wow.
So it was cool because I was talking to my manager like midway through the summer and he was like, "Wow, like I really didn't even think you were going to finish the summer. Like I thought you were going to leave like first couple days in." And I was like, "Well, I don't know what to tell you," but he was like, "I never thought you would be our best rep." So it was cool. Definitely different, but once you get into the mindset of like it's a video game, it gets very
Mm.
addicting. You know, like you're just going door after door trying to see how far you can get with the person, and then you win the video game when you sell them, and
Dude, you're
you're
the
getting.
only other person that I've heard use that example. That's the example that I use. It's like they're NPCs, and
They are.
you push play, and it's just like a Nintendo game. They say something, you
hmm
say something. You know how to respond, and you try to get as far in the process as you
Yeah.
can.
Well, it becomes fun too because it's like you say your intro, and then there's really only different variations of three different things that they could say. And then
hmm
whatever those three things are, you go to different variations, then whatever they say to that it's just a sales funnel and you just play
Yep.
whichever pitch you need at whichever time. So
So it's
it's
crazy.
addicting when you get good at it.
Yeah, and yeah, like you said, there's only a few different variations to each response, right? So
hmm
I went to Door to Door Con this last weekend, and there's this company there. This was crazy. They have an AI. It's essentially it's like an NPC on the iPad, right? And you can
hmm
program what their responses are. So, you know, you do your intro, and then the AI gives you a response back, and then you respond, and then it like grades you based off your pitch, and you can go. It's kind of cool. So the technology is evolving. Even the training platforms are crazy right now.
That's so sick.
Yeah.
That's actually funny. My manager that I work for, he was developing a software like that, but I think he stopped midway because it got too hard. But
Yeah.
he should have kept going.
Right. Yeah. Keep me out of the AI stuff. I'll sell, but I'm not a computer guy.
Yeah, me neither.
So let's get into how much money did you make that rookie season? What'd you bring home?
68K.
Was mom a supporter after that?
Yeah, it was like after my first summer, before and during it, total hater, which made it hard because I would call her when it was super hard and she'd be like,
Yeah.
"Come home," like, but like all this stuff, and I'm like, oh, it made it so much harder to sell.
Mm,
But right after the summer, it's like I was paying for everything my own. Like she no longer had to like support me in that way, and just once you come back from a summer, you just kind of see how different you are just with speaking and like your
mm.
confidence in general. So I definitely think she was a supporter after that.
Yeah,
But
100%. It's like one summer of door to door sales is like equivalent to a 4 year communications degree, right? It's
oh
like,
my God, it's more. I have a master's degree, and I feel like you learn more in one summer of door to door
hmm
sales than all that schooling. It's
yeah, that's
ridiculous.
awesome. Tell me about your master's degree. You went to ASU?
Yeah, so my undergrad was honors finance. I finished that in 3 years, and then they have a 4+1 program. So I did it 3+1 because I was either gonna triple major or do a master's, and I was just like, a master's just sounds way cooler, honestly. So I was looking into like masters of finance, masters of marketing, and they all just look so boring. Like you go there to just get a really good job after, and that
Mm,
just like isn't me. So there was this one program that like very, very new just opened up like the year before. It's called MSIPD. Masters of Science of Innovation and Venture Development. So basically teaches you how to take an idea, creatively start up that venture, scale it, and then sell it. So it's like the whole, I guess, life cycle of the business, which is exactly what I wanted in my life. So I was like, sign me up.
That's
And
awesome.
then, yeah, it was cool. And then during my master's, it was just funny because most of the people that were in my class were way older than me. But, and they would underestimate me a lot of the times. And I was always just like super busy. So I was missing class sometimes, but I would always like do everything. And they just thought it was so funny because at the end of the master's program, it ended like mid July. So it was a year and then a summer. I had to knock doors. So May through July, and obviously after, I was knocking doors. So for our finals, final projects, everything, I was on Zoom, like literally selling pest control. And then I
Wow.
would mute to like join class.
That's savage.
Yeah.
Like doing your classes while you're out there knocking.
Oh my God, it was intense. And while driving out, like 5, 6 girls. So
Wow.
it was a lot.
That's awesome.
Definitely glad it's in the past.
So you got your master's, and then how many years have you been selling?
This will be my 4th summer.
Okay. And what was your best summer up to this point?
It was this one. I did 375K personally.
Let's go. Is that revenue or
Revenue, yeah.
cool?
hmm
And then commissions take home.
Take home, I made 300K because I was
Nice.
at 55% bonuses, and then also my team did 2 million.
Love that. So you're how many representative or salespeople do you have on your team?
That summer, I had 14, I think, 13 or 14. Right now, 42. And
Sheesh.
I haven't processed any leads from my TikTok yet,
Mm-hmm.
which I have like 600 applications to go through, set up calls,
Yep.
and I've just been trying to figure out a good way to like funnel all of those leads and all of those calls.
Right.
Because it's a lot of work. You have to take them through a first interview, a second interview, a third interview
Mm-hmm.
with all those people. So that number will definitely grow a lot. I just have to figure out the best way to manage it so it
Right.
doesn't blow up.
Yeah. Social media has been I mean it's the new way of recruiting, right? And
My God, yeah.
you got a good problem ahead of you because now you can filter through and take all the A players, right? You can
Right.
filter through it all. It's a good problem to have. So
hmm
props to you for making that happen.
Yeah.
So you're making great money. What's your game plan long term? You got any investments going? I know I saw you started a new business.
Yeah. Well, investments, I have like a financial guy that I hired, and he does like everything for me so that I don't have to look at it, which is my favorite way of doing it. Other investments. So my best friend and I, we just started a health and wellness company called Mossii. And we just launched it actually about a week ago. So we're in the pre business post launch stage, and
Mhm.
we're going into like the intense marketing stage.
Let's go. What's the product?
It's a CMOS gummy. So have you ever heard of CMOS, Trent?
I've heard there's good
You have?
benefits.
Yeah. Have you ever taken it?
I haven't. Uh-uh.
Okay, it's disgusting. It's normally in like a gel form.
Uh-huh.
Seen people on social media do it, like scoop it.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen
Have
that.
you seen that?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's like a salty dirt, chunky baby food texture.
Ugh.
The benefits are awesome, but it's absolutely disgusting. It's the
Yeah.
last thing you want to put in your mouth when you wake up in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we kind of like took all of the benefits from that and made it into a really good tasting gummy. There's a lot of gummies on the market, but they're all fake, have a ton of fillers in them. Ours are very, very clean, very good tasting, very good branding.
That's awesome. So
hmm
the health and wellness, I think that's a good space to be in, especially right now. Everybody's a little more
hmm
conscious about. Everybody's on the cold plunge trend, and
Oh, I
the.
did it this morning.
How was
I
it?
had to. Oh my gosh. Well, normally I just go in, go out, like it's easy like clockwork.
Yeah.
But when I was knocking the last like 2, 3 days, I missed those days because we had to wake up at like 7 a.m., which was really 5 a.m. my time, and
Mm-hmm.
it was crazy. So I missed it, and I went back in today, and it was a lot harder than it was.
Knocked it out. No, I'm all about it. It's you get this crazy endorphin rush for a couple hours after you sit in the ice bath for
Oh
a
my
little bit.
God, yeah,
It's
it's the
awesome.
best way to start your day.
I guess moving forward, what's the long term game plan for you?
Long-term game plan is I really figured out, especially through social media, that there is a niche and a need for women to speak about sales, not only how to get into it, but how to do well in it, different opportunities, just like different tips. So, long term goal, I think I'm definitely going to harp on that community, build that community. I'm working on like a mini booklet. I do a lot of speaking about being a woman in sales, along with my health and wellness business. I think scaling, I have a really good thing going with both of those, and my focus is to really scale those up alongside building my team with Eco Shield. So I have like a lot of things going, but right now it's just scaling all of them up.
Why do you think there's not as many women in the door-to-door sales space? Because I know when you think about like real estate agents, I think it's a lot more females in that realm, right? Why do you think there's not as many in the door-to-door space?
I honestly don't think it's because girls can't do it. I just think door to door is always like the way you get into it is you get recruited by like a friend,
Mm-hmm.
typically. And those, like a lot of the times it's a guy group, a guy group from high school, college that like all goes out together.
Mm-hmm.
So they would naturally not really recruit girls. For example, like when I was doing it, no guys were recruiting girls. Now that I've done it, people are like, oh, like this girl does really well. Maybe I should ask this girl if she wants to go out. And now more girls are actually starting to get into it because there always has to be that like first couple of people that kind of show that it can be done. And then it unlocks a whole new pool of people that you can recruit from because most companies just recruit from 50% of the population. So it's like now that more girls are doing good at it, there's a whole new side and more girls are starting to get into it.
Yeah, one of my best sales reps was a girl, Lexi Parr.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, she was. I haven't met somebody that's as motivated and driven to get something done than she was. She was an absolute monster, and
Let's go.
she ended up after that summer. She ended up she was 19. She crushed it, absolutely destroyed everybody. And then the next summer, she opened up her own restaurant. That's the reason that she went out in the
That's
first place.
cool.
Yeah, so she destroyed it. So no, there's definitely a space for more females to get into the door to door space. And
Mhm.
what advantages or disadvantages do you think women have in the direct to home space?
Advantages definitely in the initial like confrontation. Like I think girls a lot of the times get more doors opened
Mm.
just because we're a lot less threatening. Someone's obviously gonna not only wonder what is this girl doing at my house,
Yeah,
like it doesn't scream door to door salesman.
because they've
It
seen
could.
guys knock on the door, and then all of a sudden,
Mhm. And like what I wear is I try to not look as salesy as possible. So I a lot of the times I just wear like I would wear something like this, but it would obviously have the company logo on it, but my hair would go over it.
mm,
So it's a lot of the times it's like, oh, is this a new neighbor? Like they don't really know what's going on. So I use that as my advantage to get a lot of the doors opened.
mm-hmm.
The disadvantages though, I think are since a lot of people do open the door and a lot of people do see a girl as like, oh, like girls are never really in door to door. They let you talk more, which can be a good thing, but also at the same time, you have to be really good at qualifying those buyers because a lot of people will just waste your time. Whether they mean to or not, like sometimes people are just kind of like confused while you're talking, like trying to figure it out. But on the other hand, it's like sometimes they might feel bad, like, oh, I'll just let her get through her pitch,
Mm-hmm.
or they're like, oh, I'm really interested, but and they just give you a ton of smoke screens.
Yeah,
So
time
like for
wasters.
my yeah, so like for my girl reps, I teach them one of the first lessons I teach them is how to qualify buyers because if you're talking to the wrong person, you're just wasting so much time and money that you could be spending talking to someone else.
Mm.
Like I would rather have someone slam the door in my face so that I can move on, like the guys do.
Yeah, just
So
tell me. Yeah,
it's
tell me if you don't want this thing. Let me know so I can get out of here. Right.
exactly, and some people are just like too scared to like hurt my feelings, I guess. But I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
trust me, it won't hurt my feelings.
You think the rejection sometimes is a little bit harder?
Yeah, I do think so. I think especially a lot of like pretty girls that I've brought out,
Mm.
they've never gotten rejected that much.
Yeah.
So when they first go into it, it's kind of like, whoa. So the way you have to coach it is a lot differently. And the problem is right now there's not a lot of girls that have been doing it for a long time. So there's a lot of girls going into it and they're
Mm.
getting trained by a lot of these guys that just don't really know the right way how to train girls.
Right.
So they're training them based off of what works for them, not necessarily what would work for the girl.
Gotcha.
And then it's obviously a lot harder to succeed in something that you're not totally like trained up to do. But yeah, I agree with that.
And you want it, so I mean, which puts you in a great position to be kind of the mentor, the voice, right? Where you can kind of help mentor these girls that want to get into sales and help them through that.
Yeah.
What are some of your hacks for the mental side of it? Because anybody, sales is 80% rejection. You're getting told the majority, no, the majority of the time. What do you do to stay level headed and keep a positive attitude?
I tell myself it's a numbers game. So every no that I get is odds are that means I'm one door closer to a yes. When people are like really mean to me though, I do kind of say some stuff in my head that I probably shouldn't think, but I'm just like I could buy your house,
Yeah.
or just like, oh, like I just say some really mean things in my head that make me feel a lot better about myself, and then I go to the next one. It's hard
Nice.
when you're knocking on like I knock poor middle class rich. I knock literally
Yeah.
everything, but when you're knocking like the really, really rich people and they have like your dream house, dream cars, and then they're an asshole to you, it does
Mm-hmm.
kind of hurt a little bit more. And yeah, I just tell people like, damn, they just must be really miserable. Or
There
if
you go.
like the wife is really mad or mean to me, I'm just like, damn, like I would hate to be her husband. Like,
Yeah.
but I can leave the house, but
Yeah. They're not rejecting you as a person. They're just rejecting the interaction, right? It's like
no. And a lot of the times they're probably like insanely miserable, which is why they're, mean to you. But
acting like that. Yeah.
yeah.
So Shelby, if you could give some advice to some of these, sales people out there, you close at a pretty high level. What's one of your strategies to close deals?
I would say my favorite way to close is first of all, you have to think of it like you are not arguing with the customer. Your goal is for them to think that it was fully their decision. And I think as a girl, too, this is key because you cannot tell. For example, if there's a guy doing it himself, the pest control, whatever you're selling, if there's a big alpha dude doing it himself, you cannot tell him you do it better than him. So you need to ask questions and close them very, very often in a way that it guides their brain to a decision. So in that way, they think like, okay, yeah, I want to do this. Instead of, okay, she made some really good points, let's do it. It has to be like their decision. So ways I do this are I'm assumptive closing a lot of the times just because it works really, really well with me. A lot of people just kind of go with it. And then if for some reason they're like, oh, well, I didn't really want to do it, you just kind of act surprised back. You're like, oh, well, why not? And just be very direct. And then you can kind of handle that objection when it comes up. Another way to option closing is my absolute favorite. I do that one like over and over and over again in my sales cycle. I'll just give people lots of options, and that lets them be a part of the decision versus me just telling them what's going to happen. Because once they choose different options, like for example, I know you mentioned the ants were on the inside. Would you want that done too, or just the outside? We'll just do the outside. Okay, perfect. The garage is also included too. Do you want that done as well, or just the outside? Yeah, if it's for free, we'll throw it in. Perfect. And then we're coming out for the Johnsons on Monday. Did you want to do that or Tuesday? Well, I have work until 5 on Monday. Perfect. We have 7 or 9, which works better. 9. Perfect. They're sold. So it's just like option closing after option closing while also being assumptive. And in their brain, they're like visualizing themselves buying the product, and you're guiding their decision without actually telling them to buy.
Love that.
That's my favorite.
Love that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're not saying, do you want to do it? You're saying, do you want to do it this way or this way?
Yeah.
And either way is
And
good for you.
exactly.
What about on the doorstep? I know a lot of first year reps, they have a hard time with those initial, we call them smoke screens. We're like, not interested. I'm busy. I'm on the phone. How do you get around just that initial conversation?
Oh my gosh. That's my favorite thing to teach because I say it and people are like, that's so simple. And I'm like, I know, but it works.
Mm-hmm.
So smoke screens are also called brush offs. It's just whatever your company teaches you. When someone brushes you off, you brush them right back off. So for example, in my intro, if someone interrupts me and no, like, I don't have the time for this, I'm sorry. I know I'll be super quick, just keep going. I'll be super quick. The reason I'm here is keep going into your pitch. brush them right back off, because if it's not a real objection, they won't say it twice. If they say it again, like, no, like, I'm seriously in a meeting right now, I do not have time to talk about this, no problem, I'll just swing by later. Walk away. Don't even give them a chance to say, no, don't come back later. Just walk away. And then you go back later. Hey, like, I didn't want to ruin your meeting, like, but the reason I am stopping by, it's very, very important. Go into your pitch. So first time they give you a brush off, you brush them right back off. Second time they give you that same objection, it is a real objection, then you actually roll that objection and reclose and handle it. But like, a lot of the first year sales reps I teach, they'll get a smoke screen. Like, for example, in the intro, they'll be like, no, I know, but I have to talk to my husband. And they'll sit there and they'll roll it. They'll be like, no, I know, that's what they said too, and what they found was that blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, because they didn't even mean it. So when you're rolling their objection, they're just tuning out, because it's not even a rejection.
Right.
So you brush off and wait for them to say it twice.
That's awesome. Shelby, freaking love it. You're a rock star. Thanks for hopping on, guys. She gave us some awesome nuggets. If you want to follow her, we're going to link her social media below, and then also we're going to link to her product, the sea moss gummies.
Yeah.
So
we'll link it.
We'll link it. But Shelby, thank you so much. We'll be following your journey, and hopefully we get you on again.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Trent.
Have a good day.
Bye.
See ya.